Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. The last video we talked about, I just introduced the concept of the two methods of simplifying sort, the square number factor method and the prime factor 3 method. And like I said, in this video, I'm going to focus on the prime factor 3 method, and the next video will be the second method we'll talk about. So as the name suggests, we'll be using the prime factor to simplify sorts, and I will just get straight into it. So if you've not subscribed, don't forget to do so that you will get notification for this. So how do you use the prime factor 3 method to simplify? Is that okay? And I told you that we're trying to simplify. So for example, if you have square root of 45, this is written as what? 3 root 5. So I'm going to show you how do we move from square root of 45 to 3 root 5. Okay, so there are 5 rules or 5 steps on how to do this. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is that you have to find all the prime factor of the number using the root or the number under the root by drawing the 3. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to just write down all the 5 rules. All right, then I'm going to give you time to copy. You just take a picture or something. Then we're going to solve a question using this method. All right, so the first thing to do, let me clean this so that it will be, I have more space. Yep, so take this up here. So we're gonna write the 5 rules, so we'll have more space. So the first thing you have to do is that you have to find all the prime factors. So find all the prime factors. So find all the prime factors of the number under the square root sign by drawing the tree. So under the square root sign, by drawing the tree. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. It's very simple. Okay, then when you're done with this, the next step you have to do is that you have to then rewrite the surds as a product of the prime numbers. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is that you have to rewrite the surds. So the given question, so you have to rewrite the surds as a product of these prime numbers. Okay, so then when you've written that, the next step you have to do then is that you have to now break this prime numbers product into single sorts by applying the laws of sort. That's the product law. Is that okay? So the next thing you have to do is that you have to break the prime numbers to prime number products into single sorts. Okay, by applying the laws of sorts. The law of sort, which is actually the product law of sort. Okay, that is the first law. Okay, the product law of sorts. And there I told you when you have square root of a times b is equal to square root of a multiplied by square root of what? B. Then number 4, when you're done with that, then you have to pair the same sorts together so you could give you a single value, which is also part of the product law of sorts. Okay, then the next one is that you have to pair same sorts. Okay, you have to pair same sorts together to give a single value by applying the product law of sorts. Okay, so if you go back to the video, you will see we talked about the product law of sorts. So the one we're interested in is square root of A multiplied by square root of A is going to give you what? A. Is that okay? So when you've done that, the final thing you have to do is that you then have to multiply appropriately using the relevant laws of sorts, okay? So you have to then multiply appropriately. Okay, using the relevant laws of sorts, okay? Okay, so for example, you have something like A times B root C is equal to AB root C. You can also have something like A times B root C times D root E, and that will give us ABD root CE. Do you remember? So I told you that you multiply all the rational numbers together. So the A times B times D to give you ABD. Then you multiply all the sorts together, C times E to give you CE. Another one we talked about, I told you that B root C multiplied by root D will give us what? B root C D, okay? So these are the 5 laws, or the 5 steps, or the 5 rules on how to use the prime factor 3 method, okay? So the first thing you have to do is that you find all the prime factors of the number under the square root sign. After that, you rewrite it, and we'll go through all of this together. So let's pick an example and let us see how we use that together. So we're going to pick an example now. I'm going to open a new whiteboard, and we're going to pick an example. And an example I have here, let's say we are told to simplify, okay? 700 and what? 20. So we assume we have 720, and we're told to solve this now. So the first thing you do, step 1, okay? So we have it, step 1. We're told that you have to find all the prime factors of the number under the square root sign by drawing the 3, right? So let's go. The number under the square root sign is what? 720, all right? Okay, now how does this 3 works? It's very simple. What the 3 says is that you look for any number that can divide it. So just pick your calculator. You can start from 2, 3, 4, up to 11. So you check any number that you want to. It does not have to be in a particular order. So let's say, for instance, I want to use 10, okay? So this is it. The arrow goes in to divide. So 10 can divide this. And when 10 goes in, when 10 divides 720, it's going to give you what? 70 what? 2. Okay? So it's going to give us 72. So that means 10 divided by 720 will give us 72. Then we have 2 numbers here, because if you see, 10 times 72 will give us 720. Now, what other number can another number divide 10? Yes, let's say 5. So 5 can divide 10, and you'll be left with what? 2. Can any other number divide 5? Nope. So you stop there. Can any let me use another color for that. Can any other number divide 5? Nope. We're going to stop there. Can any other number divide 2? No, we're going to stop there. We're done. Then the next one, we're going to go back to 72. What can divide 72? You can say 2. Okay? When 2 divides 72, you'll be left with what? 36. Can any other number divide 2? Nope. We're done with that. Next one, 36. What can divide 36? Maybe we can say 6. Okay? So 6 can divide 36, and you'll be left with what? 6. So because 6 times 6 will give you what? 36. Now, can any other number divide 36? We have 2. So that means the number can divide 6, right? So that means 2 can divide 6, and we're going to be left with what? 3. Can any other number divide 2? Nope. We're going to stop there. Can any other number divide 3? Nope, we're going to stop there. Then we're going to move to the next one. We have 6. What can divide 6? 2 as well. And you'll be left with what? 3. So we now have nothing can divide this and nothing can divide that. So that means I can rewrite this number now, 720, to be equal to, so I'm going to pick all the 2's together to make it simple and nice, to make it look good. So it's going to be 2 times, so we have how many 2's? 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you seeing it? We have 4 2's. We're going to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Then how many 3's we have? We have 1 and we have 2. We have 3 times 3. And how many 5's we have? Just 1. So that means we can now say that 720 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So now you can check your calculator and you see that this answer is what? Correct. Now we're done with step 1. Step 1 said we need to find all the prime factors. So you can see the numbers we have here are called prime what? Factors. You can see they're prime numbers, which are factors of 720. Now the next thing now said that we have to rewrite the surds as a product of this number because we have it as 720. So step 2 now, we're going to have is in step 2. So square root of 720 is going to be equal to the square root of all these numbers we found. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Then for the 3's, we have 3, 3, and 5. So times 3 times 3 times what? 5. Are you seeing it? We've rewritten it as a product. Now the second part now is that we're now told that we have to what? Break the prime numbers product into single surds by applying the product law of surds. So that means we have to break it down, step 3. So let's go to step 3. So step 3, we're applying the product law of surds, which square root of AB is equal to square root of A times square root of what? B. So that means square root of 720 is going to be equal to square root of 2 times 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 square root of 3 times square root of 3 times square root of 5. Is that making sense? So we've done that. So you're going to break it down into products of that. Then when you're done with that, that is step 3. So step 3 now said break down the prime number. So we've done that already. We've broken it down. So we're going to go to step 4. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm showing all the steps in the exam or in a test or in any quiz, you don't need to show all the steps, but because I'm teaching an online on there, so I don't know the strength of everyone, so I'm going to show all my steps here. Is that okay? Now, step 4 now said, what do? We have to pair same surds together to give a single value because we know root A times root A will give us A. Okay, so step 4, we know root A times root A is equal to A, right? So we're going to apply this concept. So we're going to have square root of 720. We know that to be square root of 2 times 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 square root of 3 times square root of 3 times square root of 5. So we're going to pair it now. Okay, so let's go. Root 2 times root 2 will give us 2 times. Are you seeing it? So we keep on pairing like this. Root 2 times root 2 will give us 2 times. Root 3 times root 3 will give us 3. Then we have no other pair for this. You just write this down. Root 5. Is that okay? So that is step 4. So we're going to have 2 times 2 times 3 times root 5. Then step 5 now said we need to multiply appropriately using the relevant laws of surds. So talk about the laws of sort, the product law and the multiplication law. So please go back to the previous video and have a look at it again. So we're going to have this. So step 5 now. So step 5 is going to be, so step 5, oh, I don't know why this is looking like this. So step 5, we have, so if you go back, we're having 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. So square root of 720 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times what? Square root of 5. And this will give you 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So the answer is going to be what? 12 root 5. So therefore, we can now say square root of 720 is equal to what? 12 root 5. And that's how you solve it. Is that okay? So we can also solve another example again to help us with. So let's pick another example here. So let's say, for instance, we're given that we need to simplify. Okay, let's say we're asked to simplify 3 root 280. Okay, now in order for us to do this, we can say that this is the same thing as saying we're asked to solve 3 into bracket root 280. Is that making sense? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first simplify 280 and multiply it by what? 3. Is that making sense? So that it will make it easier for me to solve. So the first thing I'm going to get, I'm going to start with step 1. So we have 380 now, and we're meant to do, 280. So we'll pick any number, 280. What can divide 280? You might want to say 10. Okay, so 10 will divide 280, and we're going to be left with what? 5. Okay, so no, 10 divided by 280 will give us 28. Is that okay? So 10 divided by 280 will give us 28. Then when we're done that, we can still divide 10 as well. So we'll divide 10. 5 can go in 10, and that will give us what? 2. So as you can see, no number again can divide both of them. 5 and 2 will stop there. The next part, we go back to 28. What can divide 28? We can say 2. So remember, like I said, any number can solve this. You can use any number to solve this. So 2 can divide this, and when you divide with 2, you'll be left with what? 14. Can any number divide 2? Nope. Now let's go to 14. Can we see divide 14? Yes. So you put a bubble around that. Okay. 14. We can see divide 14. And what are we going to be left with? We're going to be left with we can divide 14 by 2, right? So you put 2 in here. So 2 divided by 14 will give you what? 7. So because 2 times 7 will give us 14. Then the next one, you're going to divide. Can anything divide 2? Nope. Can anything divide 7? No. So then we can now say that 280 is the same thing as saying, so pick all the 2's together like I usually prefer. So we have 1, 2, 3. So it'll be 2 times 2 times 2, all right? Then we'll pick the 5 times 5 and times what? 7, okay? So the next thing, like I said, after you've gotten all this, we know the prime factors. So these are the prime factors of 280. Then the next one, we'll go to step 2. Step 2 now said that we have to rewrite the source as a product of the prime numbers, right? So we're going to rewrite the source as a product of the prime numbers, and we have 280. So step 2 down, square root of 280 will be equal to the square root of, we have 2 times 2 times 2, 5 and 7. So we're going to have 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 7. Are you seeing it? Okay. Then after we're done, we'll go to step 3. All right. So step 3 now, What did step 3 say? For step 3, we're told to break down the prime number product into single surds by applying the product law of surds. So we're going to go back here. So we're going to break it down. So because we know that square root of AB is equal to square root of A multiplied by square root of B. So square root of 280 is going to give us square root of 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 5 times square root of 7. Okay? So square root of 2 times 2 times 2, 5, and 7. Now, when you're done with that, the next thing that you can do is to go to step 4. So step 4 now said we should pair same surds together to give a single value by applying the product law of surds. Okay? So you can now pair the same surds together. So step 4, okay? We know that square root of A times square root of A is equal to what? A. So we're going to pair together now. So square root of 280 is equal to square root of 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 5 times square root of what? 7. So let's pair them together. This times this will give us 2. We have another pair again, so you just bring down this, square root of 2. No pair, you just bring down this times square root of 5. And there's no pair again, you just bring down this times square root of what? 7. So what we are having now is square root of 280 is equal to 2 times root 2 times root 5 times what? Root 7. Now the last step 5 said then you now multiply what? Appropriately. So let's go back. So we'll go to step 5 now. We're going to multiply. So square root of 280 is going to be equal to 2 times root 5. Sorry, 2 times root 2 times root 5 times root 7. So it's going to give us 2 times root 2 times root 5 times what? Root 7. So 2 times 5 times root 7 will give us root 70 to root 70. So root 280 is going to give us 2 root 70. So that means here, root 280, I can rewrite it as 3 as 2 root 70. Are you seeing it? So now we can now solve it now. So we can now therefore 3 root 280 is going to be the same thing as saying 2 root 70, and opening the bracket of sorts, 3 times 2 will give us what? 6 root what? 70. So that means it's 3 times 2 root 70, and the answer is what? 6 root 70. And that's how you solve that. Okay, thank you very much. And that is that for that. The next video, we'll be talking about the second method, which is the square number factor method, which is what most students use. But like I said, you can use the prime 3 factor method if you're not sure. Okay, you can use any of these 5 steps. You find out the prime factor of the number under the square root sign, you rewrite it, you break it down, you pair, and then you multiply. All right, so I'll see you in the next video where we talk about the square number factor method and how to simplify surds. And after that, we'll now go to the next section of solving some questions on it. All right, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like and write a comment there. If you're having any question, feel free to send me a message or send me an email or write in the comment section and I'll respond to you. Thank you very much.